Hello, today I'm here to talk about these four keyboards here. Okay, I know that you might be saying, no, there's only two keyboards there, but I still say it's four keyboards here. We have the numaXpiano, we have the numaXpiano GT, we have the SL88 Mark II, and we have the SL88 GT. So I count four keyboards here. What is the main difference between all of this? Well, if you are watching this video, you most probably already know the main difference between Numa and SL is just that Numa has its own sounds and the SL is just a controller. Numa has two versions, the numaXpiano with the TP110 keyboard and the GT version, which is with the TP400 wood version. And the SL88, it's more or less the same. It has two versions. The SL88 Mark II, it's with the TP110 version, and the SL88 GT, which has the TP400 wood. You really can see the wood on the keys. What is the main difference between all of these keyboards? First, I will try to figure out what would be the difference between the normal numaXpiano and the GT version. I just wish that we also would have the wooden panels here on the side like the numaXpiano GT. First, I will play a little bit in the numaXpiano using their stage D. For me, it's the best. If you watched my first review, I was a little bit critical about the sounds. They were improving over time, and with the release of this stage D, I'm now much happier. Now I'm playing something in the numaXpiano with its own sound. Now something similar, controlled by the SL88 GT. My first encounter with the numaXpiano GT, I really liked it back then, but I was just playing it for 10 minutes, so I was not really testing it properly. So now I had a week with the SL88, which has the same keybed, and I guess the keyboard response to the sound and vice versa will be more or less the same as the numaXpiano GT. When I first tried the numaXpiano, I felt the keys were super comfortable. It was easy to play. I just put my hand on the piano and it just flows. It just flows. If I do the same here. It's not the same. The keyboard action is not necessarily heavier. It's not about the weight. It feels more premium. This keyboard Now I'm taking out the sound. See how noisy this keyboard can be, both when it goes down and also this rattling. I know this is normal. I'm not worried. So I know these keyboards do this sound, so don't worry if you have one. Sometimes it can be annoying. If I'm playing live or if I'm playing with a normal speaker volume or with the headphones, then it will not be anymore a problem. This one feels more premium. Again, I've taken off the sound. Feels much more premium. Doesn't have these problems. The key resistance is more or less the same if you turn off the sound and you just play the notes. But you feel it's very different. This one has more friction in this movement, and it doesn't come up as fast as this one. So this one is a little bit faster keyboard, doesn't have the friction that you feel in this one. I would say that this probably would feel a little bit more realistic, just the physical part, but wait for it. There are other considerations to take, not only the physical part of the keyboard. I also realized that the velocity curves are completely different. In this keyboard, with the normal TP110, the regular numaX or SL88 MKii, you will have a very easy time on the mezzo forte, mezzo piano, around there. So it will be more difficult to make fortissimos, and it will be more difficult to make pianissimos than on this keyboard. Let me exemplify. Now I will use the Pianotech sound. The Pianotech sound is really good for this because it shows immediately the intensity of what we are playing. See how easy it was to get fortissimo? Now here, I will do the same thing. I really have to make an extra effort to go there. And for the pianissimos is exactly the same. So here, if I play pianissimo, look how I can stay there in the pianissimo region without any effort. Now look here, if I do exactly the same, I will have to do an extra effort now to soften my touch and go to the pianissimo. So it's really different. I know we have several velocity curves to choose, and I've been playing with them, believe me, but they don't solve the problem. If you have normal, it's the middle ground. If you have hard, then it's even more difficult to get off the pianissimo part, but you still get fairly easily to the fortissimo part. And if you choose the soft touch, you will get super easy off the pianissimo part, but also get super easily to the fortissimo part. Just to show you, I will play now the numaXpiano, some small phrase. And I will do the same now with the SL88 GT. You might think that I'm playing different. Well, I'm trying to match exactly what I'm playing here and what I'm playing here. To use Pianotech as I use in here. Here I can use Pianotech straight out of the box with the linear curve. I don't need to change anything. To play Pianotech with the SL88 GT, I have already here a velocity curve. It's not linear at all, but at least I can play the Pianotech with this keyboard. If you have the SL88 GT or the numaXpiano GT, I think you will need to change the velocity curve a lot in your software to have more control. For me, it's a case of excessive dynamic range. Let's see. Fortissimo. Okay, and now Fortissimo here. Much easier. Pianissimo. Much easier, but I find that it should not be easy to get to Pianissimo. It should not be easy to get to Fortissimo. You have to make an effort for Fortissimo, you have to make an effort for Pianissimo. It feels great physically. But there are certain things then in the interaction with the MIDI and with the sounds and the velocity curve and other things that really doesn't work for me. There's another thing that this keyboard impressed me a lot. Let me show you. I'm now doing exactly the same with this keyboard. This was something that impressed me at first with this keyboard, because the problem with many digital keyboards is that they don't allow for an easy piano style glissando, and this does not again. I was a little bit disappointed with that. I don't know, something like this, you will need to make this glissando, not like this organ style. This would be with an Hammond, not with these keyboard keys. And you can cut yourself even. Yeah, it's possible, but not comfortable and not how it should be. This is not possible here. Okay. Another thing is repetitions. Look how this works here. And now how it works here. Not as easy. Not as easy at all. Although this keyboard physically feels very good and feels much better built than this one. When I play this one, this is a much better keyboard for me. So in this case, it will be up to you. I know there's a lot of fans for this TP400. I know there's a lot of fans, and we all have different preferences, and we have choices, which is really good. I would consider this more or less on the level of high-end keyboards from Yamaha or from Roland or even from Korg. I would place it more or less on that level because of its construction, because of its physical feel, but the implementation and this velocity curve and all these problems that happened here, I'm not enjoying it so much. You might, and if you do, it's a very good keybed. It feels good, physically it feels very good, and we can work around a little bit the problem of the velocity curve, as you saw here with the Pianotech. But yeah, it's a very good instrument. It's a very good keyboard. It has its flaws, which it's a pity for me because I like it, but this one is not such a premium feel keyboard, but when I play it, it feels so much better and so much natural for me. So this is the big difference. Another thing that I noticed is that if I do this, I noticed that the hammer is completely connected to the key. The movement of the hammer is completely connected. If I do the same here, and for example, if I just do this, I feel that the hammer is moving independently of the key. So the key in this case is staying on the same place in the hammer, and I feel it moving inside. So it is not completely attached to the key, and this is good. This is how a real piano works. Sometimes the hammer returns a little bit after the key. And this, for example, in the Kawai pianos, in the Kawai digital pianos, in the RH3, works really well, because if you do this, even if you don't let the key go down, the hammer goes and triggers the sensors, because the sensors are triggered by the hammer, not by the movement of the key. In this case, they have this, and the sensor could be triggered by the hammer, and I think you would solve a lot of problems with that. But no, it doesn't. Are they so much different? Well, in terms of weight and inertia, I guess they are pretty on par. They just feel different. This one, I like when it goes to the bottom. It has this cushion. It doesn't bang strong. This one, it bangs so strong in the bottom, specifically if you do something very strong. Well, but this is not the problem at all. Conclusion: if you like the TP400, I agree, it's a premium keyboard feel, go for it. If you like the TP110, believe me, it will save you a lot of weight, because all these GT keyboards are much heavier and much more difficult to transport, and you still get a wonderful keyboard, which for me, in my opinion, at least for me, it's a little bit more playable and more enjoyable to play than the GT. And in this way, you can save money and weight. So now that we talked about the keybed differences, let's talk about what makes the Numa different from the SL. Of course, the obvious thing is that the SL doesn't have its own sounds. It has MIDI too. It's a new kind of MIDI that gives us better resolution. I don't think this is so important, because MIDI 1 gives you, for example, for note on, gives you 7 bits, which is 128 steps, including 0. And the SL88 already has MIDI 2, which gives you a resolution of 16 bits, which gives you more or less a total of 536 steps. But is it noticeable? I'm pretty sure not. It's very difficult to distinguish. Although the number looks amazing, it's very difficult. One thing that might work better as a controller, now we are playing a synthesizer. And I'm using this knob to control the filter. We have 4 knobs, assignable knobs, which is very good. We have exactly the same here, but I will do the same. Okay, what is the difference is that this knob is clicky, so you feel the clicks, and this one not. The fact that this is clickless and this is with clicks makes a big difference. So this is better as a controller. As you know, they both have an audio interface. It's a very good in here. I cannot show you the quality of sound of the audio interface. What I can say is that when I'm using this in my studio with the studio monitors, it sounds much better with the SL88 GT than the numaXpiano. Well, much better. A little bit more clarity, a little bit more punch to the sound. What is missing here, of course, is all this part that is related to the onboard sounds and the effects and everything that this doesn't need to have. What is really missing here is the inputs, audio inputs that they have on the numaXpiano. This is so handy, so nice to have all your keyboards just connected here and you don't need anything else. My conclusion, this piano is 14 kilos. The numaX GT is around 22. The normal SL88, I think it's even lighter than the Numa, most probably 13 kilos. And this keyboard, this specific keyboard, the SL88 GT, is around 21 kilos. All the GT versions are much more expensive, although this SL88 is still less expensive than the regular numaXpiano. I will still keep my numaXpiano and I will return the SL88 because of all the problems that I encountered with the keys, not the keys physically themselves, but how they are working, or in this case not working for me. I will keep the numaXpiano exactly because these keys doesn't suffer from the same problems, and specifically the more important one, the velocity curves. As a controller, they all have more or less the same control. They all have the same kind of joysticks, that they are all assignable, and it's really good that we have them assignable. We have the pedal 1, pedal 2, pedal 3 on both keyboards. One big difference between both is that the numaXpiano is powered by an external power supplier and the SL88 is powered by USB. This can be a good thing and this can be a bad thing. Well, if you use it with your iPad or your MacBook and they are not connected to an external power supply, you will drain the battery very fast. In order to avoid this, either supply power to your MacBook, or you also have to supply at the same time power to the iPad. And in this case, you should use something like this. I have here the power supply, and this supplies power to the keyboard and to the iPad at the same time, so you can work for as long as you want. Another difference that I find is that the black keys from the numaXpiano are all textured. The black keys from the SL88 are only textured on top. Sometimes it feels that my fingers just get stuck here, while here they slide much better. I don't know, just an impression, just another thing that makes me love this regular numaXpiano keys more than the GT. Everybody has their own opinions, and I know many people that are very happy with this keyboard, either on the SL88 or in Nords or other keyboards that use this keybed, so I will have a little bit fun with it. I hope you enjoyed this comparison. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. Bye bye!